Alright guys, I'm back with the Oppo F11 Pro. So I've been using this phone for the past 24 hours now. I really like this phone, but instead of doing a usual standard first look hands-on like I usually do, I'm going to do a comparison video and comparing the Oppo F11 Pro with the Vivo V15 Pro. So the reason I'm comparing them is because they are released very close around the same time. They sell to the same market, which is India first and then Southeast Asia after. They're priced around the same, and they are obviously very similar in terms of overall power and the main selling point, which is this pop-up selfie camera. And they both have 48 megapixel main sensors on the back too. Now, if you follow smartphones, you know that Vivo and Oppo have close ties. They're owned by the same parent company, BKK Electronics. Now, to be fair, Oppo and Vivo do operate almost and completely separately. They have their own individual PR teams, they have their own marketing teams, they have people building their own software. The software experience is quite different between these two. But in terms of hardware, they're always very similar because they share the same production lines. Like, I've been to Oppo's headquarters and Vivo's headquarters is just down the street. So in terms of making phones, they probably come out of the same building, and that's why they share a lot of the same tech. Likewise with OnePlus. So the 48 megapixel main camera in both of these phones are exactly the same. They are 48 megapixel sensors with an f1.8 aperture. The secondary depth sensor is exactly the same too. It is a 5 megapixel depth sensor. So now the big difference is that the Vivo V15 Pro also has a wide angle lens, whereas the Oppo F11 Pro does not. So I'm glad that Oppo decided to go with a slightly larger screen, even though, you know, it sounds very minor, 6.4 to 6.5, but I think it really shows when you're watching full screen media like on Instagram stories, which is one of my favorite ways to look at a screen. And I just love that because these displays are completely uninterrupted with no notch. The stories fill up the entire screen. Unlike on phones with a notch, or even the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, which I will review next, because it has that hole punch camera, it does not show stories all the way to the top. I'll show you. Let me just click into it really quick. You see? Stories cut off at the top on the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus compared to on a notchless device like the Oppo F11 Pro. So that's what I love about these type of screens. You take advantage of the entire canvas. Now the Oppo F11 Pro's display looks great to my eyes, and it's great under general use. But the Vivo V15 Pro's display is a little bit better because it is an OLED display. Now OLED display, when you're looking at just general home screens with bright colors, you're not going to notice much difference. But OLED displays are better at pumping out blacks. So now when you go into deep blacks, you notice that the black on the OLED display on the right is just a lot more immersive. It's completely black, whereas the black on the LCD panel, it's not really deep black. It's like it's like a little bit gray. So if you're someone that likes to use deep black wallpapers or just watch movies that are very dark, like maybe, you know, like the Batman movies, OLED display will look a little bit better. But overall, not much complaints about this display. In terms of specs, they differ slightly too. So the Oppo F11 Pro runs on a Helio P70 chipset compared to the Snapdragon 675 found in the Vivo device. Now, Snapdragon 675 is a little bit more powerful than the Helio P70, but the Helio P70 is still more than good enough to handle just about everything. But just to show you benchmark numbers, you'll see that the Snapdragon device did score a little bit higher. 6501 to 5990 and then 2390 to 1561. But again, these are just numbers. Like Aaliyah used to say, it ain't nothing but a number, man. When you're just going on Instagram, watching YouTube, watching Netflix, playing basic games, you're not going to see much difference between the Snapdragon 675 and the Helio P70. Now the Vivo V15 Pro has an in-display fingerprint reader, whereas on the Oppo F11 Pro you only have a traditional fingerprint sensor on the back. Otherwise, the build quality, construction is very similar. So both phones have a headphone jack. On the Vivo V15 Pro, the headphone jack's on the top, whereas on the Oppo F11 Pro, the headphone jack's on the bottom. But unfortunately, the Oppo F11 Pro, just like the Vivo V15 Pro and the Realme 3, uses micro USB ports. So you have to charge the device via micro USB. But to Oppo's credit, this device can charge very, very fast because it supports Oppo's Super VOOC charge, which is basically like the same fast charging tech that OnePlus uses. So this phone can top up basically 0 to 35% in like 10 minutes. and if you charge the phone for like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, it will basically go up to like 80%. So now there's a 4000 milliamp hour battery inside, which is a little bit smaller than the battery inside the Realme 3. So battery life isn't as good as that device, but overall, you're not going to have endurance problem with this phone. It's going to last you all day. So now let's jump into the camera software really quick. About last year, I did a video comparing the camera software of the Oppo R11 Pro, I think, with the Vivo V9, and they were very, very similar. Oppo has changed up its software interface, so now it looks a little bit different. They no longer look like the exact same software, but for the most part, performance, it's very, very similar. I like Oppo's camera software a little bit better. It's more simplified. If you look at Vivo's software, it's a little bit all over the place and overwhelming, especially if you're not a tech geek. If I give this to like my mom, she might be like, why are there so many buttons here? Like, she doesn't know what they do, and you have to swipe like 5 times over just to find everything. So I prefer Oppo's camera software. It's simple, it's clean. You have photo, portrait, video, and then you tap this extra menu to bring up these other things. So now you see that there's a nightscape mode, which I already covered in the Realme 3 and in the Oppo R17 Pro. You know, and for the most part, it works pretty well. All you have to do is hold the phone still for like 2 seconds, and it'll stitch together 3-4 images worth of information to give you a more balanced image. I'll show you some photo samples later, but overall, I'm quite liking this camera software. So this selfie camera, it's pretty decent. This is a 16 megapixel selfie camera too, compared to the Vivo V15 Pro, which has a 32 megapixel selfie camera. But again, I guess if you really like taking selfies and printing them out, maybe you need 32. But for me personally, I don't care about the 32 megapixel selfie camera. I think 16 is more than good enough. I have absolutely no issue with this selfie camera. You'll see it's tracking my face very accurately right now. You can also do the portrait depth of field blur, so now it's blurring the background in my back. And then you can have a beauty mode, which should be pretty comprehensive. Same thing. See, you can do, let's make my eyes bigger. Oh, that's scary. And then you can also do a 3D scan of my face. Is that how? You can touch up my skin, let's make my face thinner. Yeah, pretty scary. So, but you know, a lot of people like this, and it's fun to play with. So let's talk about this main sensor. It's a 48 megapixel sensor, but just like the Honor View 20, just like the Vivo V15 Pro, it's not meant for you to shoot at 48 megapixel most of the time. You're better off shooting at 12 megapixel, at which point the camera software will do a process called pixel binning, which combines 4 pixels worth of image information to 1, so you get a more vibrant image that's a little bit cleaner than usual and just kind of gets a lot more details in. Now, if you do want to shoot 48 megapixel, you can. You just have to jump into settings, go into photo ratio, and right here you can choose 4:3 Ultra HD, which is 48 megapixel. But if you shoot in this, you see that you cannot zoom, you cannot do beauty mode, night mode, all that. So it's better if you're shooting in that. So I'll show you some photo samples really quick. So this is a bokeh image. I like the edge detection. It's quite natural. Like, I like that there's even a little bit of the light blurring in the background around the cat. This looks like the same cat that you'll see in Captain Marvel. I already saw Captain Marvel yesterday. I don't want to spoil it, but the cat plays an important part in the movie. So you see, this is a night shot using the night mode, and look at how clean this image is. Dynamic range is on point, and then all the lights are properly balanced. They're not too overexposed. This is a really good image considering this phone sells for $350. Colors are very punchy, general all around. But you know, since this is supposed to be a comparison video comparing the Oppo F11 Pro and the Vivo V15 Pro, so I gotta show you some side-by-side photo samples. So even though they have the exact same camera hardware, they do have different camera software, because Oppo and Vivo, you know, they operate independently in terms of software team. So you notice that Vivo's image is a little bit cooler compared to Oppo's image. I snapped these at the exact same time, obviously. You notice that both images look very clean. Details are about the same. And then let's check out a couple more side by sides. So same thing, you notice Oppo's image is a little bit warmer compared to Vivo's image, but it really comes down to preference. In terms of details, they're both very excellent shots. But more interestingly, I want to show you this nice shot I took yesterday after I came out of Captain Marvel. It was a pretty dark scene at the time, and I really think this image came out strong. In fact, this image can rival the same shots captured by the iPhone XS Max and the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. I mean, look at these images side by side. You're not going to see much difference in quality. That's pretty crazy considering Apple and Samsung are selling their phones for $1,000 US, whereas this Oppo device is $350. So now we'll look at, this is a selfie portrait. The blurring action right here is a little bit messed up around my hair, but overall clean shot. So check out a video which is 1080p resolution, which is the max this can shoot at. So you can zoom while shooting video, and the zoom quality is pretty decent. There is no stabilization though, so when I walk, you notice that it's quite jerky as usual. But yeah, not bad, not bad. So next I want to talk about the software, because I want to give Oppo credit, because you know I've criticized them in the past before about the software, which I thought wasn't good, and they've really improved on it. So first things first, you get Android 9, which is a big win, because some LG, some Samsung phones are now still run on Android 8, and the overall aesthetic of the software looks a lot cleaner. You get a app tray now, app drawer, which is awesome. You know, that's something we've always been asking for. You can search for apps. You have this swipe menu from the sides that allows you to do shortcuts, grab a screenshot immediately, and I really like it. I think it's very useful. So you swipe down from the top to bring down a notification shade, and you see I really like this redesigned shortcut toggle icons. I like that they're big, they're bold, they really pop off the screen, and it's, you know, easy for you to see what you need to do. Like you can launch calculator right away, and you can customize this grid too if you want. And you know, all the little shortcomings that previous Chinese software skin would pop up have been fixed. So now if you listen to Spotify, for example, you have a lock screen music widget, which you didn't have before. And you know, going back to the comparison thing, I like Oppo's ColorOS a heck lot better than Vivo's FunTouch software now. Like on FunTouch, you have to swipe down from the bottom to get this control panel. When you swipe from the top, you only get notification. You don't get any shortcut toggles. I just like this a lot better. You have an app tray. You don't have an app tray on a Vivo device. So now after all this, you might be asking yourself, so which phone is better? It's tough to say because they sell at different prices. The Vivo V15 Pro sells at 410. Well, it sells in India first, but the price is equivalent to $410 US, so $410 US. The Oppo F11 Pro, as I already mentioned, sells about $350 US. So it's a $60 US difference. Now, what do you get extra for that $60 on a Vivo device? You get an OLED screen, that's a little bit better. You get an in-display fingerprint reader, which some people will like, but you know, a lot of people will like the traditional fingerprint sensor on the Oppo device too. But I think the biggest addition here, really, it's the wide-angle lens. On the Vivo device, you see, you can tap on wide and you immediately have a wide-angle camera, whereas on the Oppo device, you don't have that option. You only get one focal length. I mean, you can zoom, but this is a digital zoom. This is not a telephoto lens. So it really comes down to, do you want that wide-angle lens? If you like to have a wide-angle lens, then yeah, then you'll probably want to get the Vivo V15 Pro. But if not, if it doesn't matter to you, then the Oppo F11 Pro is $60 cheaper, and you might be better off just saving that $60, especially if you're in India. $60 can probably, you know, get you like a really nice dinner in India or anywhere really. So this is the Oppo F11 Pro. I'll have a full review of this video up in about a week. And also, if you want to know more about this phone, please feel free to check out my website, nicksgadgetup.com. I'm definitely going to have more information there. Or follow me on Instagram at Ben's Gadget Reviews, where I'll upload more photo samples, all of that. Thanks for watching.